Good evening, hello and welcome everyone to the Outs and Lines coverage of the Aussie Mixed and Fixed League Christmas Bash. It is Christmas time and it is time for some fun MX5 racing at the wonderful Watkins Glen boot circuit. Classic boot layout used tonight. Some interesting format of racing with the MX5s tonight. We are going to see 3 races, but to get us to that point we will have a top 10 shootout coming up next. Jay Kennedy and alongside me tonight for all the action, Corey. Corey, it's going to be a lot of fun.
Oh yes, a lot of fun. I'll it'll be a slipstream train for the whole 3 races and it'll be very exciting to watch.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of action. The drivers are just getting briefed at the moment before the CM Security top 10 shootout. It's going to be a really mixed up field because qualifying that has just happened saw a few drivers take big advantage of the draft train, which you do get at this circuit. But now, out there on track by yourself, it really changes how you approach this and whether you can get this fast lap in.
Yeah, and also as well, a lot of these drivers would have done their quali laps in slipstream behind someone, getting, and also with the classic boot version going into the carousel, you'll have to be braking much more early than what you did in qualifying to get a beautiful carousel. And I would not be surprised if I see 1 or 2 people going a bit too hard into the carousel.
They'll be trying to push the absolute limits of their cars coming into this qualifying session, into this shootout session. Now, something not many of these drivers would be too familiar with. A few guys would have done top 10 shootouts or top 15 shootouts in V8 Scots, but other than that, it's a very, very rare occurrence for us to have a shootout qualifying session in a hosted series. So especially in the MX5 doesn't see a lot of alternate qualifying sessions, and to see that tonight is going to be a really, really interesting thing.
I think as well we're still getting some people in the session, but it being the MX5s, it's going to be, the race is going to be, well, 3 races will be it'll be panel beating the whole way, as these cars do take a lot of damage before they expire.
There'll be a lot of argy-bargy and bumping and shuffling around, and it's going to be pretty entertaining to say the least. And the drivers will have 3 races tonight. The first race will start after the shootout session finishes. It'll be a 20-minute race, then a 20-minute reverse grid race, followed by a 40-minute final. Final race you will have to pit for fuel, so it's going to be a really interesting format for tonight's racing. Really looking forward to seeing how it will play out. So we've got the first driver on the line ready to go. I think that's Ryan Schweister, getting ready to start his lap.
Going out there now, and I believe the Justin is on to all the drivers telling what the order's in, so we don't see anyone else going out there in the wrong order. But 100% track state, so we're gonna, hopefully these guys like the track's nice and rubbered up.
If you don't like it too rubbered up, you're gonna not have too much fun in this session. But it's said too, the classic boot layout, so no bus stop chicane. As you were saying, the entry to the carousel is going to be very, very committed, because you're going to want to brake as late as possible. And the fact that you can have a really wide entry here too will mean that some guys are going to shoot off into the marbles and may not make it around through the amazing carousel corner and into the boot.
First corner of the boot's going to be very difficult as well, because if you do get a very compromised run out of the carousel, the first part of this boot will be a very difficult experience as you come in now to, I believe, the tip of the boot. It's an uphill braking zone, so we're going to see some guys going as late as they can. They might be even more committed to the carousel or into here as they were at the carousel.
Cool thing too with the MX5 is the amount of drafting that happens at this circuit. It just breeds itself to drafting. The MX5 doesn't mind a bit of bump drafting and a bit of pushing and shoving due to its lower speed, so getting some draft advantage. You're getting a run into the carousel. I wouldn't be surprised if we see 3, maybe even attempting to go 4 wide into the carousel in these races.
You'll be wanting to have balls of steel to even go 4 wide in the carousel on these cars, but we've seen very crazy moves done before in these cars, and I wouldn't be surprised if we do see a lot of crazy moves during the 3 races here tonight.
Ryan Schweister about to start his first flying lap. Get this top 10 shootout underway for the Aussie Mixed and Fixed Christmas Dash. This is the CM Security top 10 shootout. Guys actually vying for a $20 iRacing credit voucher as well. So there is a prize up for grabs as well as getting pole position, which obviously gets you the best starting point, but a bit of iRacing credit, especially at new build times, always nice and handy.
Yeah, especially with the new content out. It'll be very, very helpful for a lot of these guys, as we saw Ryan there go a bit too hard into turn 1, but now he's got the carousel to make up for it. Let's see what he does into the aerial brake.
I see the commitment levels here very, very deep.
He's got it. Oh, he's
wanting to push, isn't it? The understeer in the mid corner was very, very extreme.
Just got to be careful with these cars. Now it comes to the first part of the boot. Oh, he had a break there, so that might not do him well out of it.
Guys, in the qualifying session, the fastest time was a 2:05. I wouldn't expect to see anywhere near that fast. I'm going to say around about the 2:08 mark will be the target time in this session without draft. We'll see how we go as we come down the foot, I guess, on the sole of the boot.
Yep. I think I only heard a 1 gear change there into the heel of the boot. Now he comes up to the last bit of the boot. Also very committed braking zone here uphill. Get the car turned in. It's sort of an off-camber corner, but gets it out very neatly.
Corner that there's no right line, and every line feels like you could have done something quicker, but full throttle through the second last corner. This is very committed at the end of this lap.
We slid it out.
Just pulled it up. Car didn't want to grip at all. Going to come across the start line to complete a 2:08.9. Obviously that will be position number 1 for now.
Okay, our second car out on track at the moment is Oliver Fullerton in the 077 car. He's just coming around to the heel of the boot to start off his lap.
A lot of guys in this field very, very familiar with these cars. Only racing or driving with the Red Pepper group, so does a lot of different sorts of races from what we would normally see here on V8's Online. They do a lot of different series and a lot of mixed up stuff, so interesting to see how he goes as he comes to start this flying lap.
Very slow exit out of the last corner there, so, but he's still got a whole, what is 5.4k circuit to make up that time. He's getting to turn 1. Very early on the brakes, so he gets it turned in. Beautiful exit as well. Better than what...
Sacrificed the entry to get the exit for this big long run, didn't he?
Yeah, he was better through the mid-end exit than what Ryan was before.
Down the big long straight. Full throttle for around about 20 odd seconds in these cars. Reaching just on 200 k's an hour. See probably 205 in the draft. Gets up to 192 without the draft assistance. And we'll see later on in the night how much that draft will help you through that back section of the circuit.
See as well, he had the same line there through the carousel, but the first part of the boot did it even better. This could be a better time, but we go into the tip of the boot. Gets it turned in. Gets a good exit as well. He was doing okay this lap. He could get the #1 time.
It's looking very, very smooth, nice and controlled, and not having to go and make any extra pedal movements. If you have to do a little tap on the brake or a little modulation of the throttle, it can destroy the rhythm of the car and compromise maybe a tenth of a second. And that's what this is going to come down to, this qualifying session. Target time of 2:08.9, 2 corners to go, be flat through here with this layout. Flat at 160 k's an hour. Car will not want to maneuver through that corner at all. A great exit out of the final corner. Didn't quite use all of the runoff. It's going to be pretty close. Going to cross the line. It is a 2:08.7. Just pimps. Ryan Schweizer takes first spot.
And now we've got Dean Ross coming around the last corner, just behind Oliver. Start off his flying lap here. Beautiful, a better exit than out the last corner than what Bulletin had.
A lot better through the mid corner too than Fullerton there for Ross. I just moved a little bit through the S's there. Looked a little bit unsettled, but now it's looking a lot more controlled, and we'll see what top speed Ross can get to. We saw Fullerton reach 192 k's per hour. That's pretty much on the limit without draft. Exactly the same. 192.
Oh, he's tapping that brake through carousel as well instead of all on it, but he's got a bit of a tighter exit, but he could have got a good speed through mid corner.
We'll see if that's compromised the speed. It looks pretty good though coming into the boot. It looks very, very smooth. And smooth usually means quick in these cars.
Now he comes all very wide.
We'll see if Ross is improving on the first 2 lap times, which are both in the 2:08s. 2:87 is the target time. At the moment, Dean Ross has looked very, very controlled. Just one corner possibly that's compromised the run. A little bit of curb there, which will unsettle the car. Probably will have to have a dab on the throttle to gain the control.
See as well, he's having a lot of very wide entries, which is trying to keep that exit basically nice and straight as he comes into the last 2 corners flat through this one. Get some of the curb there now to the last corner you go. You just got to tap the brake a little bit.
Whoa!
Gets the curb, massive curb, and he's lost it.
Oh, into the fence. That's a big, big contact into the fence too. That was a really good hit, wasn't it?
Yeah, had a really good lap up there, and now Matt Morris covers past the wreckage to start off his qualifying lap.
Just get a quick Cup Price Racing replay of that one because that was a big, big moment. Just bounced it off that curb and that really unsettled the car. Couldn't quite get it back under control. And it snapped hard left. Lap done, but as you said, Matt Morris now on a lap. No stranger to these cars is Matt.
No, he does them in real life, and I believe as well he's going to try him out next year as well. He had a year break this year, so we take a lot of pictures of his new pride and joy in the team chat. So we'll see what he does this lap. See if he gets it on pole. Be very surprising if he does into the carousel. Car's really wanting to getting the guts. He's getting the guts out the car, but see, they're very wide entry into the side of the boot.
Just ran it on the limiter there into the toe of the boot, and now up the hill. Car just does not want to accelerate up this hill. I'm going to try and leave it in gear as long as possible. Now downhill braking zone Want to keep it off the curb on the inside, just a little bit of curb, not too bad. This lap
Very
again looking
wide.
very smooth. Yeah, ran a bit wide though.
Oh, very close to that curb. This is as close as you want to go.
And used just the right amount of runoff at the exit too, so if he stays in the throttle here. Oh, he just had to lift off the throttle a tiny little bit to not run too wide, so this is looking quick from Morris. Target
Beautiful
time.
last corner there as well.
Yeah, target time is 2:08.7. Will he be able to do it? Oh, good lap.
2:07 flat. Wow.
Great lap. 1.7 seconds to the next car. That's a big gap.
And I think as well, if he would have changed gear, he would have had a better lap. But as you can see, Nathan Anderson in the
Wow.
very pink car.
The My Little Pony entry.
Be an eye popper during the race, but you can see he gets a good exit out the first corner. Now up through the S as he goes.
Amazing how long you're on the throttle for. Coming out of the exit of turn 1 the whole way down through the S's, down the back straight. You're almost onto the limiter. You know you've got a bit more in it, but it just won't go. But hard on the brakes. Into the carousel. Get on the power a little bit earlier than you expect because the way the boot opens up, the corner just opens up very nicely for you, and then into a really tricky corner. A bit more than 90 degrees, so you have to go a little bit slower and a little bit harder than you expect.
And now to into the toe of the boot. Gonna get very tight, just tapping the curb there. Now up the second longest straight of this circuit, you just on the throttle for so long you can think about where you want to brake. You can see here the heel of the boot. Oh, a bit wide through mid corner, but he gets it good to the exit, but that's going to compromise his run into the now to the re-entry of the circuit. This is halfway down the back straight for the cup layout.
Again, we'll see if Anderson can go full throttle through this corner. So Morris had to get out of the throttle. Anderson had to lift a tiny little bit. This looks good as well.
Just a tap of the brake in the last corner as well. A lot of the exit curves. This might be a pole sitter right here.
Oh, not quite. It's a little bit behind Morris. He's going to slot in a second. 2:07.6.
2:07.6.
Next out on track, Paul Jones. Man that we need to thank quite a lot here at V8 Online for helping us out throughout the year, helping myself and Reese out with some equipment throughout the year to help us stay live. So big thank you to Paul for his support and the hard work behind the scenes. We love everything you've done for us here at V8 Online. Thank you, Paul. But he doesn't care about that right now. He wants to go as fast as he can.
He would be wanting to take that pole time, snitch it off Morris and stay there for the race. As you can see, long straight now into the carousel on the brake, and he didn't tap it like what everybody else was doing. Very tight line through the carousel as he comes into the start of the boot. A lot of the drivers were just, you know, braking off it and back on it again, and you can see Paul's on it or off it.
He's not modulating the throttle. It's either 100% or 0% at the moment, and could work. It may go against him, but the fact that he's out as the 6th car, he finished that qualifying session in 5th, means that he's got some pace in this car tonight.
Yep, and also as well, if he does snatch that pole and every other driver, you know, qualifies in front of him, he'll be starting what will be 6th place, so wouldn't be too bad for him, but he'd be wanting that pole. A lot of exit out of that last corner. Now we go into the Last two corners, flat through here. Yes, he is. Ooh, a lot of the curb. Now to the last corner. No curb on the inside, but will he use all the exit curb? Yes, he will. I think he had a blip with the throttle there as well.
Looks quick though.
And I think it might be 2:06.8. Puts him straight at the top.
Good time. And Paul Jones now takes that provisional pole away from Matt Morris, and Trent Thomas now the next man out to try and take pole in the Mario Brothers entry. I know he and Alex Bird, both the Fusion Sim Racing guys, are running a Mario and Luigi livery tonight, so we'll pick these guys out quite easily.
The turn one, really quick, a lot of exit as well.
See what top speed, pretty much everyone so far. 192 is what they're getting to. Will we see anyone get to 193? Thomas out of the throttle. 192 as well.
Much more wider line out of the carousel than what Jones had. See as well, he's using a lot more of the track into the braking zone and through the corner. As you can see, come through the toe of the boot. Good line, a good exit. Now up the hill, keep it as in gear as long as you can. Over the crest, find that braking marker and hope to hell it can stop if you're going as committed as you can.
Too early, Thomas can get on the throttle here. Or a little bit of curb on the inside that unsettled the car a little bit. May not have compromised him too much time, but it may compromise him a little bit of speed here. It looks like he might be down a tiny little bit on his competitors. One corner to go.
We go across the line. Will it be a pole time? Will it be second? 2:07.3.
Not quite enough there from Trent Thomas. I feel like that mistake at the third last corner, coming back onto the main circuit, is what potentially cost him the time there.
And now we got Michael Hammond on his lap. Oh, he had to tap the brake through the corner. That might be an off track. Oh, very wide exit. Taps the grass on the exit, but I think he's got a bit of a compromised run up through the S's and down the back straight.
And really don't want to have a compromised exit out of turn one in these cars, because you want to be on the gas as early as possible. You need to be on that loud pedal the earliest possible moment to get as much speed as you can down this straight.
Oh, he just gets on 193 as well, so that turn one didn't compromise him at all.
That really wide run might have helped him have a little bit more momentum up the hill. Interesting too, the way he changed down a gear at the carousel, just bounced it on the limiter as well. Doesn't matter if he blows it up, I'm guessing you only have to do one lap in these motors, so it doesn't matter how aggressive you are in it, as long as it does the lap. But Hammond looking very, very committed at the moment. Looking like this lap, despite the what we thought was an error at turn one, may not have hurt him at all.
It's going to be, I think that what we all thought error is done him well as he comes into what is going to be the last section of corners. Out of the the heel of the boot. Good run. And then into the exit of the boot. Ooh, the rear's out a little bit. Just got it slowed up. Now the last two corners. All or nothing is Hammond going to be doing at the moment. Flat through here, yes. No curb on the outside, or just a little bit. Now the last corner.
Oh, big sideways moment on the entry. Managed to pull it up. Got it straight. Got a great exit. Will he improve on a 2:06.8? No, it's going to be a 2:07.6, which puts him into fourth. And decides to roll it upside down because not happy with the final result of that lap. Adam Briggs is the next driver to start his flying lap. Second last driver to do a lap in this session. See what time he can do. So the target time will be a 2:06.8. Paul Jones at the moment. So it's Jones, Morris, Thomas, Hammond, Anderson, Fullerton, Schweizer with Ross. Unfortunately not getting a lap time in. Here we go. 2 more drivers left in this shootout session. And after this, we've got 3 races.
So up through the S as he goes. He did have a pretty good turn 1, so we'll see how he goes down the back straight.
We can match that speed of Hammond. Oh, a little bit unsettled. Oh, just managing to pull it up. You hear the tyres squealing, not wanting to do what Adam Briggs wants that car to do. Somehow got through the carousel. I don't know how.
Oh, does the same thing at the start of the boot as well. The car does not like him at the moment.
Tell you what though, this is 120% commitment at the moment. Absolutely on the ragged edge, throwing everything at this lap.
He's sort of throwing everything but the kitchen sink at it as he now spots his braking marker into the last section of corners. Gets all the curb on the exit.
They're using a lot more road than what we've seen from pretty much everyone else. That's not necessarily a bad thing. You just got to make sure that you don't use the curbs at the wrong spot. And that little bounce off the curb coming onto the main section of the circuit possibly could cost him a 10th. We'll see. He comes into the final corner. Very, very smooth through the final corner. Just clips the grass at the exit. So using all of the runoff. What time will this be? It's in the 2:07s, an early 2:07, I think. Third place, just behind Matt Morris. 2:07.1. The last driver in a shootout. We've had Mario. It's time for Luigi. Alex Bird. Fusion Sim Racing. See what time he can do.
The turn 1 he goes, all very committed, very wide exit as well.
Similar to Hammond there, wasn't he? Just running it as wide as possible. Really awesome S's up the rise. Doesn't want to go any faster up that hill. It just maintains the speed. And now, get a chance to take a breath. Keep your foot planted. And work out where you want to brake for the carousel.
Will he hit the magical 190? Oh, I think we're just about to hit the 193 there as we go into the carousel. Beautiful line through there as well, so.
This has looked pretty good so far, hasn't it? It's looked nice and smooth. Using just enough dirt on the exit as well.
Yep, using the road and then some. Now to the tip of the toe of the boot.
See if we can get something special It was about half a second quicker than everybody in the qualifying session, but there was draft in that session. There's no draft now. You're out there by yourself. We'll see if we can see another 206. Will we see a low 206? Could we see a 205? This lap has looked very, very good, just using all the exit of the third last corner.
Yeah, he's got the last 2 corners to navigate. Flat through here. Yes, he is.
Oh, and quick
Grabs
too.
some of the curb and now to the last corner. Oh, curb on the inside. Oh, just gets it stopped to not hit the wall.
This looks good.
Will he get a very...
Just pips the pole position away from Paul Jones. Great lap, Alex Bird. Just done 206.7. 10th of a second separating first and second in this shootout. Unofficial results on screen with Alex Bird. What a great lap in the end of 206.7. 900ths of a second quicker than Paul Jones. Matt Morris in third with Adam Briggs finishing in fourth. Have a look, there's no difference between Briggs and Morris either. Only a 10th of a second separating those guys. Trent Thomas next in fifth with Hammond in sixth. Nathan Anderson in seventh. Only 300ths of a second separating those two with Ollie Fullerton, Ryan Schweizer and Bruce Ross. The rest of the field in that shootout. So congratulations, Alex Bird. You have won the Sam Security Shootout Award. Well done to you for winning that. And we now wait for race 1, which is going to be very, very entertaining. Looking forward to it. 20-minute sprint race. After that, we do a reverse grid, 20-minute sprint race, and then we finish it off with a 40-minute race with a pit stop. It's going to be an action-packed night for sure, this one.
Well, the reverse grid race is going to be a very entertaining one indeed. But we first got to get through a race 1 off the basically top 10 being off what it was. And with that front row, with that top 10 being separated, some cars not even being separated by 10, to be very, very surprising. Well, not very surprising, but it's going to be a very close battle up at the top 10.
Yeah, it's going to be a very, very heated battle too. It's going to be really interesting to see. We get ready for the main event starting proper with Heat 1 not too far away. Just waiting for the session to come up available for us to join, bring pictures through. But it's a big couple of weeks coming up here in Vietnam. We know we're getting close to Christmas, but Wednesday night we have the Knoxville Nationals, which we're looking forward to doing. Always good fun events doing the Race on Oz dirt event. So we will have that Wednesday night. Next Saturday night we will have the final round of 2017 portion of the Blancpain GT series. But starting Thursday night, Corey, I know you're excited for it. I know I'm excited for it. Cut Price Racing Rallycross. Cannot wait for that to get underway. Thursday night here in V8 Online. Not 100% sure how the format will work as of yet, but we will work something out. We'll get some pictures through from some cool, awesome Rallycross action. If you haven't had a chance to have a drive of Rallycross on iRacing yet, get yourself a sub. You will not regret it, because it is one of the most enjoyable types of racing I have ever seen.
Yep, and when you don't have a wheel and you're on a controller, sadly, doing Rallycross, it's very entertaining as well. But
you've had a lot of fun even racing on a controller this week.
Oh, I've been laughed at by some people, but I've won a couple of races here and there. It's really entertaining, but can't wait to get my goddamn wheel, that's for sure.
You know that it's good when I am leaving my wheel plugged in for pretty much a week straight to do races, because anyone that knows me, I plug my wheel in maybe once every 3 months to do, say, 5 laps and then go, yeah, I can't be bothered anymore. But I've left my wheel plugged in all week. I unplugged it about 20 minutes before we went live for this broadcast, and as soon as we finish, I'll be plugging it back in to do some more. So Thursday night here on V8's Online, we'll have more details on our Facebook page. So make sure you do like our Facebook page, V8's Online, and we will keep you up to date with what we are doing Rallycross wise in the coming days. Thursday night cut price racing Rallycross. Get excited, it is going to be hot for sure.
Well, we all hope for sure that that we have 100+ people in one session, but the official racing the way it is, it's going to be a very entertaining one indeed. So get your subs. I believe there's a code out there to get $5 for 3 months at the moment.
Yep, we've got a V8 Online V8 Scops code, so PR-V8 Scops 2017 is the promo code, and get 3 months for $5 US, which is an absolute bargain. And after probably 20 minutes on Rallycross and maybe one race, you'll be hooked for long enough that you won't want to give up after 3 months. It's very, very entertaining for sure. We are now getting pictures through from the warm-up session. So drivers are out on track once again for warm-up, and once we get through this session, we will get race 1 underway, which I'm really looking forward to. It's going to be really interesting to see how drivers tackle the draft, actually think a bit logically about it too. So the other thing too, with race 2 being a reverse grid race, if you DNF, you don't get to reverse to the front of the field. You're at the back still. So very, very important to finish. You want to finish as high as possible in the first race, because points coming into the final race is where it will all be at.
And if you're one of those people that do crash out at the start of the race, you can... I do believe there's a fast repair in this race as well, so...
Yeah, yep.
Good.
Fast repair for... 2 fast repairs for everyone, so if they do crash out, get back to the pits and get yourself back out on track. They want everyone to finish the race, so important if you do crash out, just get back out there, do some laps, and get ready for the next one, because there's 3 races tonight, which is amazing to think we're going to do 3 races in these cars. It's going to be exciting.
3 races and 80 minutes of what will be the best entertainment we'll see tonight.
Not wrong about that. It's coming up to Christmas, there's all those silly Christmas movies. Tell your friends to watch this. Would be much more exciting than those horrible Christmas movies that get drawn out every year.
And also those Christmas songs as well.
Oh. Yep, I'm done with Christmas already. We're about 5 minutes until the race session gets underway. Big thanks to CM Security and Real Parity Motorsport as well for their support of the broadcast, and for CM Security for the top 10 shootout. So as we say, big congratulations to Alex Bird. He's picked himself up $20 in iRacing credits, which come in handy this week to purchase himself some new content. Decent field as well. We've got 25 MX-5s in the races tonight. Of course, if you're not sure about the Aussie Mixed and Fixed League, they do races every Sunday and Monday night, and they do all different sorts of combinations, oval and road as well. So, and GT3 Development Series on Sunday night, and pretty much a random mix of cars and tracks on a Monday night, which is something really, really different and a nice variety. They do pretty much any sort of combination you can imagine. They've probably done it.
I have done a couple of their races on the Monday night, and they're very entertaining as well. I think one of the nights I did was HBD's at Charlotte Road, and that was a very entertaining night, that's for sure.
It's a combination that you wouldn't really go out and try and do yourself, but getting a decent bunch of drivers that just like to go out and have fun and race hard and race fair, it makes a very, very entertaining night. A night that you probably would expect when you look at it, go, oh geez, that'd be tough. It actually turns into a really, really fun night.
And also as well, they're all fixed setups. So all you need to do is just jump in there and you can do a couple of laps and you should be sweet. No need to tune your car or anything, because they have a setup right there and ready to go.
We're not far off being able to put the grid up on the screen as well. A few guys actually jumping out there to try and get comfortable with the standing start in the MX-5. A lot of drivers, well, a lot of guys in this field wouldn't have driven the MX-5 since they were in the rookies. And even then, some of them may have never driven this version of the MX-5.
Yeah, this version of the MX-5 is it's a very new version, I believe. It was out last year, so it's been nearly or over a year on the service already. So a lot of people would have driven this. You know, some people might not be used to it because they haven't driven it for so long, or some might be very used to it because they drive it a lot. So this race is going to be all about who knows the car and also draft. So
yeah, draft is going to be the real key. Seen in previous MX-5 races at this circuit, you don't necessarily want to be the lead car coming onto the last lap either. You want to sort of be tucked into second or third coming out of turn one, because you will likely overtake down that straight, and I would not be surprised if we see 4 wide. I know we're going to see 3 wide at some point, but I wouldn't be surprised if we see 4 wide. You're cringing thinking about it, but you know I'm right at the same time, don't you?
Yep, it's going to be that straight. There'll be a camera situated on that straight, and it'll be a very entertaining sight to see when we do see 4 wide, and maybe a wreck, which we don't really want to see tonight. But 26 cars out on 25 cars out on track, so could be a bigger grid, but it could be a smaller grid as well. So it's the perfect size to create some chaos for 3 races tonight.
You don't want too big a field MX-5 either, so just a nice 25 car field is pretty much an ideal number for these sort of races. So we're seeing Nathan Anderson, that livery is absolutely throwing me every time I see it. My Little Pony livery, it's very bright. And my partner wanted to paint me up a couple of My Little Pony liveries, and I said I'd drive it if she painted it, and then she never painted it, so I'm glad she didn't. We now have the clock hitting 0. We will get the start grid up on screen for you right about now. There we go. We already know that Alex Bird will start this one from pole. Paul Jones starting in P number 2. There we go. And then Matt Morris in 3rd with Adam Briggs in 4th. Trent Thomas 5th. Michael Hammond 6th. And Nathan Anderson in 7th. Oliver Fullerton 8th with Ryan Schweizer in 9th. And rounding out the top 10 is Dean Ross.
Starting from 11th place will be Philip Worley with Gareth Laville starting 12th. 13th, Daniel Misdale. 14th, Phil Otto. 15th place, Adam Kuda. 16th place, Simon Mazzomo. 17th, Mark Breedle. 18th place, Colin Herman. 19th place, Bruce Ross. 20th, Justin Cotterell. And rounding off the grid is Shannon Mason.
Yep, so 21 cars actually in the race for this one. 20-minute race, as we said. Time limit race as well, so doesn't matter how many laps they get done in that 20 minutes. As soon as the clock hits 20, the check flag will come out. Once the leader crosses the line, it will be the end of the race. So revs rise. Race 1, the Aussie Mixed and Fixed Christmas Bash is go. A good jump from Bird on the inside. And Matt Morris looks like he's gone with Bird. Paul Jones is going to hold it around the outside, but fairly smooth and controlled through the mid-pack. They all start to shuffle into line at the front. Jones and Morris side by side going up the hill for the first time. We've got a 5-car breakaway too.
Yeah.
And we're going to see the drafting. Here we go. Look at Morris already. He's going to take the lead. We're 3 wide on lap 1. And look at Hammond threading the needle through the middle.
Hammond's threading the needle on nearly everyone. Morris moving over, but he
and
can't do it.
And we're 4 wide already. Hammond. Lap 1, 4 wide, 5 wide. So Hammond from 5th to 1st on lap 1. Morris and Bird still side by side. And that just shows how much the draft will play in this race. Hammond won't be able to break away. And at the end of the straight, that 5-car breakaway is now a 14-car pack.
See there, Morris had a little bit of a send moment on the on Bird. He's got a bit of left front damage, but it won't affect him.
Oh, a bit of weaving going on back in the field too. Trent Thomas, Nathan Anderson. Thomas defending Anderson, who thought about making a late lunge. Wasn't able to do so, but Hammond now leads from Morris. Adam Briggs up into third with Alex Bird dropping back to fourth. Take note of what positions everyone's in now, because next lap it will be completely different.
Doesn't matter where you're on the first lap.
Bird! Sorry, Corey.
Well, it doesn't matter where you are on the first lap, because it doesn't matter because you've got 20 minutes to find your way up or down the field.
Seeing Phil Otto in the pit, so possibly a black flag penalty for Phil Otto. Hammond trying to break away from the rest of these guys, but I think he knows that he won't be able to.
So we were just 3 wide down the front straight in the first corner, but now they're 2 wide. Oh, Thomas and Morris are 2 wide coming from the S's there, and maybe also Bird and Briggs. They're both very close to each other. Bit of bump draft. Yes, there will be.
That flows up pretty much to the tail of Hammond on this lap. Saying that Hammond's still maintaining that gap. It's, oh, have a look at Paul Jones up the inside. The massive draft run. Only just pulled it up, almost made contact into the side of Briggs, and they're going to go side by side into the boot. Oh, Bird up the inside as well. Jones just holds on to fourth. These guys are going to be careful not to shuffle and fight too much, because Hammond could break away if they fight too hard.
Now they're 2 by 2 by 2 through the tip of the boot.
Oh, this is going to be on next lap, because these guys are fighting very hard. We've got the top 10 who have broken a little bit of a gap. Oh, Morris. Oh, I thought he was going to send it right up the inside of Paul Jones, but backed out of it at the last second. Couldn't quite make that late lunge. These guys are going to try and work themselves into single file. Catch back up to the tail of Hammond, who has already broken a second on these guys on this lap.
Don't forget that second. If Hammond stuffs up, he's going to get swallowed up by what is a pack of nearly 9 cars.
Here we go, starting lap 2. This will be around about a 10 or 11 lap race. Trent Thomas up the inside, gets a move done on Matt Morris. Had a little bit of a mistake coming out of the final corner. Will Anderson be able to throw it up the inside? No. And Dean Ross has got a great exit. Bulletin, Schweizer running very wide, but the top 10 have broken away. And side by side, Paul Jones, Adam Briggs through the S's. Alex Bird will be looking in his mirror, knowing that he's going to get hunted down. What a race this has been already.
And also as well down towards the back.
Oh, who's that in the back, in the fence? It's Matt Morris.
Oh, it's Morris.
I think he's had some sort of issue there, because that was strange. He just went hard.
Oh, he's up back out on the track. Oh. I think he did get collected up by car or 2.
I had a feeling his screen went black then, or he's had some sort of issue with his PC, because the car just drifted off into the fence and then just stayed up against the fence. Very strange.
But up front at the moment, it's a very big pack. It's a good battle for third. You can see Bird is pulled away from the pack.
Oh, we're going to crash back in the field. Mark Brittle's got massive damage to his car, struggling to turn the car. Quick cut price racing replay. I think that he was the one that you said made contact with Matt Morris. Actually, no, he's just right into the rear of the 25 car of Daniel Misdale. On board here with Misdale. We'll see if we can have another look at that. Thanks to Cut Price Racing. Bit of a late lunge and nose to tail contact. Fairly decent hit. We go back live, back to the front. Brent Thomas, Adam Briggs, 4th and 5th at the moment. With Paul Jones just ahead. They're going to go 3 wide into 1.
Briggs just thought of it. He did back out of it the last second. I think Jones has got some damage to the left side. He did tap the wall on the out the last corner, so and has got some rear damage to him as well.
Nathan Anderson, you can see on board with Anderson how much damage there is to the rear of the Cut Price Racing MX-5 of Paul Jones, and he's going to drop back. At the front, they're going to have a change of the lead here because Hammond knows that Bird will dive up the inside at the carousel here. Don't prove me wrong. He's not going to. But behind, 3 into 1 doesn't work, boys.
Oh, now they're 2x2x2s through the carousel.
A bit of driving here. And what this fighting's done, Bird and Hammond, they're going to check out now. They're going to pull away from these guys. They need to sort themselves out into a line if they want to catch back up to the leaders, and we will have a change for the lead here because Bird is up the inside. Move done on Hammond. Saying that, Hammond's got a great exit. He's going to get the move back through, is he? Move done. So Hammond back into the race lead. And that little bit of jostling of position has meant that that pack behind is back in the draft range again.
And I think as well, Briggs is now the 3rd car to check away from that pack. But Thomas is just behind him. You still have that draft range. Now Ross and Anderson are going to be too wide. Oh, what are they going to do? Are they going to stay too wide? They're going to give a position? Yep, Anderson will. But
Jones.
now he's got Jones right behind him.
Six laps to go, or thereabouts. Battle for the lead is well and truly on Hammond, Bird, Briggs and Thomas. They're all in draft range of each other. A little bit of a gap back to Dean Ross, Nathan Anderson, Paul Jones, Ryan Schweizer and Oliver Fullerton. Top 9 have broken away from the rest of the field in this one. Not having to the run Bird's got. Bird's going to take the lead before he even gets into the braking zone, and Briggs might get them both here.
Briggs having a look up the inside of Hammond. Thinks otherwise. Oh, he's going to put a nose there. No.
And Thomas is right there on the rear of Briggs now as well. So these guys are back into a true 9-car battle for the lead once again. Oh, almost contact.
Hammond pulls out, but on the wrong side of the road. Briggs puts the nose there, puts the whole car, doesn't do it. No, and there's Thomas right on cue, right behind him. Beside Briggs as we come into the heel of the boot. Briggs very deep. Oh, nearly contact there.
Briggs and Thomas both look the raciest out of this pack. So, be interested to see if we see any moves from our current 3rd and 4th drivers. In the background, Oliver Fullerton's just had a big moment. Almost hit the wall. He's going to drop from this train. Now we have 8 cars in this lead battle. We're over halfway through this race, so there'll be 5 more laps to go.
See, Hammond and Bird are both going to the inside wall, trying to break the all of the draft they can. Briggs is now right behind Hammond, but can he get it done just coming out the S's because you don't want to be wanting to make a move in the S's here because you'll lose speed.
You want to wait until you get out of the S's and onto the actual true straight to get a move done. Briggs has had to go early because he was going to run into the rear of Hammond.
And
Briggs
now Thomas is right
overrun.
there. Talladega tactics are all close to each other.
Bump drafting as well, so Thomas pushing Bird. Hammond's got through. Thomas tried to push Bird to make sure Hammond couldn't get through. Briggs has run very, very wide. He's dropped 2 spots. He's dropped back to 4th.
And now Ross and Anderson are on the tail of this pack. Oh,
around goes Thomas.
He won't collect anyone. No, he won't.
Oh, that's unfortunate for Trent Thomas because that was shaping up to be an absolutely intense battle. Just a lazy spin that these cars can do when the tyres are put under a little bit too much stress. Cut Price Racing replay. Just tried to hold it a little bit wide and then turn it back in, and tyres did not want to do what Trent Thomas wanted it to do. He drops back to 17th, but the battle for the lead is on. It's a true 5-car battle.
Well, they're all still single file. They got the same amount of distance between each other, but this is going to be at the end of the race a very good battle. You see, Briggs is running a little bit too wide out of the second last corner.
Seven minutes left on the clock now. We start lap 7. We said that we were going to have some action-packed racing tonight. I knew we were going to see some action-packed racing. I did not think it would be this intense. This is only race 1. Still got 2 more races to go.
We've still got a reverse grid race, 20 minutes, and then a 40-minute race with a pit stop. So Briggs, Bird, and Hammond, 3-car. What is going to be a bum draft train? But now Bird and Hammond are drafting.
Oh, no change of position on this lap so far with Bird just still tucking in behind Hammond. He'll be trying to work out when to get this move done, knowing that there's 3.5 laps to go.
So it'll be like the Daytona 500. You got to think of when you want to make your move to win it.
Oh, back in the field, they've just gone 3 wide with Herman, Worley, and Misdale into the carousel. Just caught the last moments of that with Simon Mazzomo and Shannon Mason in on that battle pack. Go back to the front because these 5 cars, there's nothing between them at all, and Paul Jones sticking with them with that damaged car. Don't know if he's got enough left in that car to fight for an actual position, but he's doing a good job holding on. Top 5 separated by 1.4 seconds as well, so nothing separating first through 4th at the moment. It is very close. So first through 5th, 1.4 seconds. Will we see any moves done this lap? Hammond holding on from Bird. 3 laps to go.
Don't forget Briggs is there as well, so he could take both of them if he was very lucky to. But Hammond and Bird is the this might be the battle for the win.
Jones around in the background.
Ooh.
A damaged car. I think it's just been a little bit too much trying to hold on, and it just decided to give way at the exit of turn 1. Cut Price Racing replay. Oh, we'll just continue on, try and hold on, get the highest position as possible. Just used a little bit too much inside curve, got that drift going, and as it corrected itself, it shot him into the fence. As we come back live, Briggs, Bird. Live timing says there's 1,000th of a second separating them. They're side by side. Bird holds on. Briggs slots in behind. Anderson ready to pounce. And Dean Ross is still there.
Dean Ross is just laying back, right, waiting for the wreck to happen. Whoa, Briggs and Bird getting a bit close. And now Anderson's having a look at Briggs. And guess who's right there? It's Ross. He'll try and get the run out the corner to stay with him. Now Bird's having a look at Hammond.
Bird might go up the inside here.
He will. Very deep. Gets it done. Can't. Oh, just can pull it up.
And Hammond thought about going for an over and under and then missed the apex himself and left the door open for Briggs, who then got a compromised run, had to get out of the throttle. Anderson's gone through on Briggs. Ross is going to get Briggs as well, I think. No, he tucks back in behind.
And now Bird and Hammond, they're both very close to each other. Sort of look like they're going to bum trial through the corner.
Oh, big moment for Bird out of the final corner. Took way too much curb. They're going to drag across the start line. 0.03 of a second separating them at the line. Hammond now retakes the race lead with 2 to go. See if Bird can get back through. You can see how damaged the front of that car is though. Very, very creased front left-hand side of the car, but it doesn't mean he's not getting a good run. He closes up to Hammond. Anderson and Briggs bump drafting to try and catch at the same time.
Well, Hammond and Bird are bump drafting. Oh, here we go.
Around the outside, Anderson.
Oh, Bird, a little bit loose.
Oof. Wow, this is some good driving from these guys at the moment.
Now this next lap could be the last lap if the predictions are right. So right about now they're going all or nothing at the moment. So now Hammond would not like to see the side of the My Little Pony car in his mirror. He'd like to turn the mirror off if he wanted to. Well, if he can, that is. But Anderson having a look.
Hammond's going to make this very hard on Anderson, though. Hammond will make his car as wide as possible. He's got Gareth Lavelle around. Something's happened to him. He's facing the wrong direction. In the toe. Up Price Racing replay on screen. Looks like he may have done this all by himself. Just a bit of a slow drift. And then again, as it's correcting itself, it's just snapping hard the opposite direction. We've seen that a few times from a few drivers. As we come back live, it is now about to be the final lap of this race. Strap yourselves in. This is going to be hectic. Briggs up the inside of Bird. Move done. Will there be contact between Anderson? Not quite. Hammond did get a very good exit, but he knows it's going to be in vain because these guys are going to close up behind down this straight.
This means that Briggs, Anderson having a look. Briggs is right there. He's going to get the double draft. This could be a 3-wide move. Is he going to split the middle? No. Hammond's there. Oh, it takes it to the grass. 2 wheels on it, and there's Bird on cue. And also Ross is there as well. They're all here.
4 wide on the last lap. Around the outside, Bird's going to get the ball.
3 wide's not going to work. Oh, there goes Bird.
Into the fence hard. Hammond maintains the race lead somehow. Briggs right there. Anderson ready to pounce. And Dean Ross has just been sitting there watching and waiting for something to happen ahead. He's worked his way all the way up into 4th at the moment.
This could be 3rd, but Hammond and Briggs are going for it. Briggs around the outside. Won't make it work though. Anderson's there.
Here in the background, a car in the fence.
Yeah, it's Philip Worley.
So we'll stay with the battle for the lead because side by side, Briggs has got a little bit of an overlap here. He might be able to get a move done. 3 corners to go.
He's got
And
the
Briggs
move down
is
the
through.
inside.
Hammond
But
over and
Hammond-
under.
But then also Anderson is there as well. So if these two collide, Anderson might get this race.
Briggs has done enough at the moment.
He's got a block, only one last corner to go and then a straight. Hammond on the outside.
Oh, what a run Hammond's got. He's going to round him up around the outside. Move done. And Michael Hammond's going to pick up the win. Wins it by a 10th. What a race. Top 4
And
separated by under half a second.
Ryan Switchstart he's laid back that whole race, got a top 5. Fullerton finishes in 6th place. Jones in 7th as they will come across the line, and Kruger in 8th. Mazomo in 9th, and finishing out the top 10 will be Misdale.
Cup Price Racing replay on screen of the incident for Worley, and won't be too many happy campers in the DPR Racing Garage post-race, because that was teammate versus teammate contact at the exit of the carousel between Worley and Misdale. That was a fairly heavy hit into the wall there for Worley as well. We'll go back and get another replay of the final lap incident for Alex Bird as well.
I think as well behind after Bird had the accident when everybody else went through, I believe that battle near the back of the pack had a wreck as well, because I did see 2 or 3 cars in the pits.
Yeah, Shannon Mason, I think, has been involved in something on the last lap as well. Oh yeah, the final corner on the lap previous, there's contact between the 005 of Colin Herman and also Shannon Mason. So, staying with the Cup Price Racing replays, they're getting a workout on after the last lap. What a race that was. We've still got 2 more of these to go. Reverse grid for the next one. The DNFs will not start at the front. So pole man in the next race will be Philip Worley, because he did finish the race.
Finished the race dead last, but I'm also looking at the last lap. It was between Worley, Mazomo, and Misdale. Mazomo had to take the 4 wheels, nearly the 4 wheels on the grass down the back straight.
Wow, what a race that was. Michael Hammond ended up winning by a 10th, another 10th back for Nathan Anderson, and 2/10 back Dean Ross. Top 4 separated by 45 hundredths of a second, with Ryan Schweizer in 5th, Ollie Fullerton 6th, Paul Jones 7th, Adam Kudry in 8th, Simon Mazomo's ended up in 9th, with Daniel Misdale in 10th position.
And I think we should wrap up the rest of the grid for this race. Gareth Laville in 11th, Thomas sadly in 12th place after a very unlikely mistake from him. 13th is Brettle, 14th is Otto, 15th, and starting on pole for the next race will be Worley, and then our DNFs, Mason, Bird, Herman, Morris sadly crashing out, and that's it.
See if we can get one more replay before we take a little bit of a break. See if we can get this Cup Price Racing replay working. As you were talking about, Mazomo in his little battle, 4 wheels on the grass. Oh, actually a little bit of a touch up through the S as well. We're going to be in for a really good show tonight. I'm looking forward to the next race already.
Well, also looking forward to the next race and also the 40-minute race. It's going to be 2 times the craziness. I'm going to have a good guess, because that'll be also involving a pit stop as well.
Yep, looking forward to that. We're going to take a quick break though. Get us there. We're hyped about it. It's worth the hype. Rallycross is here. We'll give you a bit of a preview. Thanks to iRacing and Scott Speed. We'll be back very, very soon here on V8's The Line. This is the Aussie Mixed and Fixed Christmas Bash, presented by Real Parity Motorsport. and CM Security. We'll be back very, very soon with race number 2.
Hi guys, Scott Speed here, welcoming you
iRacing.
to the Volkswagen Beetle GRC car here in iRacing. It is so fun. Wanted to give you guys some pointers around the track here. This is the actual track that we drove in Daytona. It looks unbelievable. When you see the footage from the onboard of the actual track, it's crazy how similar they got it. Give you some tips on the car. First thing you're gonna notice is this thing is a 2-liter turbo engine that has over 600 horsepower, and it is geared for acceleration. So you're gonna go through the gearbox very quickly. That's the first thing you know. As soon as you leave the pits, you're gonna be like, wow. You're just gonna have to upshift gears very rapidly. And then you're gonna get on the brakes for the first time, and you're gonna notice this big momentum shift. As the car is gonna lean over, it's gonna have a ton of weight transfer, and that's because we run really soft springs in this thing to get the traction that you're gonna need in the dirt. Once you get through the first corner, you're probably gonna realize that as soon as you touch the throttle, it doesn't really want to turn anymore. You gotta be aware that 4-wheel drive likes to stop very quickly, and it likes to go very quickly. It doesn't like the corner so much. To the first corner, you definitely wanna wait until you're kind of straight to get on the gas, and that'll bring you up to the really fun section. And you get to experience dirt in a 4-wheel drive rally car for the first time, and it's incredible. The thing you're gonna notice is that the car wants to just continue going in whatever direction it started in. So when you approach these corners, you're really gonna have to turn quite before the corner, very early, and the car is gonna develop this momentum to it. It's still very important to hit the apex and to be very tidy and clean, but you're gonna have to do that with the momentum of the car. And then you got this nice jump that is really fun. One thing to keep in mind when you're in the air is if you hit the brakes, the front end will come down. If you hit the gas, the front end will come up a little bit. So you got to control, kind of like an airplane, the pitch of the car in the air so you're kind of flying straight. And as soon as you land here, you're going to want to start heading left. You're going to give it a big input and start it sliding to the left. And you're just going to be constantly trying to slow this thing down to make this corner, because it's very, very slippery and it's a very tight corner. And the preferred line, believe it or not, is still going to be right here at the apex. Once you get out of here, the next couple corners are relatively simple, typical tarmac corners. Not a lot to these stuff. This is all flat out. And yeah, let's see what a full lap looks like.
iRacing.com is a sim racing game that combines a true-to-life racing experience with an online community of virtual racers from all over the globe. iRacing offers a multitude of officially licensed cars and tracks, laser scanned with millimeter accuracy. Their car models and mechanical systems are based on real-world physics and engineered in cooperation with manufacturers and race teams. iRacing's web-based interface allows members to compare stats and test drive any combination of car and track instantly. Their skill license system ranges from rookie to pro, ensuring members are always pitted against those with similar skill sets. Members are able to sign up for a weekly race series, compete in time trials, host a private race with friends, and participate in racing leagues created and run by the community. With over 60,000 members, iRacing works in partnership with renowned motorsport organizations like SRO Motorsports Group to deliver virtual races based on the real-life Blancpain GT series. iRacing's Blancpain Endurance Series features team racing, giving members the ability to build a team and participate in races ranging from 3 hours to 24 hours. Additional partners include NASCAR, IMSA, V8 Supercars, IndyCar, allowing members to race in their very own 24 hours of Spa, Bathurst 1000, Daytona 500, and many more. iRacing.com, delivering the most authentic racing experience short of getting into a real race car.
Welcome back to V8 Online's coverage of the Aussie Mixed and Fixed Christmas Bash. Race 1 has been run, won and done. Race 2 about to get underway. It's reverse grid time. Jay Kennedy and Corey Ott here in the commentary box. And race 1, we've both had to have a lay down, have a bit of a relax, get our breath back. And we know that race 2 is going to be even more action-packed, Corey.
And yeah, it's going to be reverse grid, so very entertaining to see all the fast guys come from the back to the front and the slow guys to hold them off.
Looks like it may not be reverse grid, but the grid has actually been set in the original race order. So Morris, oh no, Matt Morris is going to start. Is that right? Morris in first?
Yeah,
Colin
so
Herman second, Alex Bird third, Shannon Mason, Philip Worley, Phil Otto. Then Thomas Laval, Misdale, Mazomo, Kudra, Jones, Fullerton, Schweizer, Ross, Anderson, Briggs, and Hammond going to work their way through. So they've allowed Matt Morris to start at the front, even though he did DNF in that first one. Obviously, issues beyond his control caused that DNF. Gets ready to take the grid. We're ready to go already. We didn't even get a chance to have our breath, have a breather after that one.
yeah, I think, yep, there he is, Morris on the grid. Revs rise, and race 2 is underway. Morris doesn't get the jump because Herman has got it, and maybe, could it be, actually sorry, he's got the jump.
Yeah, Bird's come through though. Bird's got past Herman. We know Bird had great pace, as did Morris in the first race. So they'll be wanting redemption after disappointing end to race 1. Back in the field, we've got a car in the fence. Ryan Schweizer round, facing the wrong direction.
Oh, that full wide, they're still wrecking.
Oh, big crash. Anderson out, Ross out.
Schweizer with big damage. And Hammond comes through. He must have had a late start.
Yeah,
that was good for him.
Just getting a Cup Price Racing replay of the restart. So Schweizer right in the middle of shot. The Christmas themed livery. I'll tell you what, Santa was not enjoying that ride. Side by side contact between he and Kudra, and then Ross ran into the fence, as went Anderson as well.
At the moment, the lead was changed. Bird was in the lead, but Morris decided to give a little bit of a send. Nearly tapped him, getting that lead back. And now, what is this? Nearly a 12 car pack for the lead.
Yeah, 11 car battle for the lead at the moment, and at the front, Bird and Morris fighting hard. Herman doing a good job holding on. Shannon Mason right in the middle of it. Trent Thomas working his way back through, as well as Philip Worley. So most of the guys in this front pack had pace in race 1, but unfortunately were involved in incidents that took them out of an actual proper finishing position.
Oh, too wide through the corner. Bird and Morris have got together. Bird's around, Morris is on. Oh, and another wreck. And this means that Colin Herman is in the lead, or maybe not. Mason looking for the inside run.
Yeah, Mason's going to get this done up the inside, and he will take the race lead. We're going to get a Cup Price Racing replay of that with Morris and Bird side by side. They're both going to come into the pits, get their quick repairs done, get back out on track, get themselves some positions to fight for the end race. And that started from Bird just clipping that curb. That sent Morris flying into the fence.
Now it's a 3-car battle for the lead. They've checked out really far from Jones, so Mason on the outside, Herman's trying to get him, but Thomas is right there as well, so very interesting 3-car battle for the lead. Ooh, and there goes Herman around.
Herman. Big hit. That was a huge contact into the wall.
Little bit too much squeezing there from Herman, and Mason just kept it straight.
Our Price Racing replay on screen, and there was an overlap there between them, and both trying to go 2 into 1 because Herman could see the run that Thomas had in the background, but I don't think he wanted to give up the spot to Thomas, and was trying to defend and cover off Mason at the same time. But Thomas now leads from Mason. Herman dropping spots just ahead Mazzomo and Briggs. Nose to tail, 5th and 6th. So again, this is probably going to be a 10-lap race. Mazzomo having a look up the inside. Misdale, and through goes Briggs as well. And so will Dean Ross. He'll go through too. So Ross, who finished in 4th in the first race, has got through and got a spot as well.
Morris looking really feisty. Herman's going to the pits.
Herman in to get a quick repair, get his car fixed, go back out. And there's a heap of guys in the field that have done that, so not a bad ploy to come in and get your car fixed and go again. Just ahead, Ross, side by side with Mazzomo, going up the hill.
Mazzomo gets past him, but 4-car, basically what is a... Oh.
This is a 4-car battle for 4th, 5th, 6th and 7th, but not too far behind is Morris, Otto and Kudrad. Mazzomo's going to get a spot here. He's up the inside. Gets a move done on Adam Briggs, who's shuffled out a little bit wide.
And apparently the 55, Mason, has sadly got a drive-through penalty for that.
That changes the lead of the race because Mason in 2nd. Going to get shuffled back down the field. I'm guessing they've decided that Mason may not have held as level against the white line as he could have in that situation. Maybe tried to move over to the middle of the track a bit too much. Tough to judge when you're in the driver's seat, those ones. And tough to tell from the TV camera angles as well. And race control have a few extra views on what we would have had. Side by side, Morris. Tell you what, Morris has got some great pace even though he's been shuffled back, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's really fighting for it. It's giving him a bit more motivation to get through the pack.
front. Thomas leads by 3.8 seconds from Paul Jones. Mason has dropped out of the race. The Briggs now up into third with Mizomo, Ross and Morris next. This is the battle for third, fourth, fifth and sixth, and it is heated.
It's a four-car battle for the last step on the podium.
And it's the sort of battle that you can tell every lap that there's going to be a position change. You just can sense something's going to happen in this pack. Briggs holding against the white line, but you can see on the outside, Briggs has been passed by Mizomo up the inside, almost in the dirt. Oh, contact between he and Mizomo. Briggs has somehow held on. Mizomo now through. Briggs back through. Oh, contact between Morris and Ross. Ross is in the fence. Massive hit. Wow, that was a big hit.
Oh, Ross just moved over a tiny bit there on Morris and basically spat himself into the fence.
Yeah, Morris sort of had to shuffle across so he didn't make contact into the rear of Mizomo, and at the same time Ross just drifted across a little bit and shot him into the fence. So one of those strange incidents that not really going to say one driver is fully at fault. They both contributed in some aspect to that crash. So,
oh, Morris getting the tail out.
Yeah, Mizomo's going to get a run here. Possibly we'll get a move done. No, not quite able to. Trent Thomas leads from Paul Jones. Gap stable at 3.5 seconds. Briggs now checked out a little bit from Morris and Mizomo after that little bit of an incident between Morris and Ross. Next real battle, other than the two cars on screen between Morris and Mizomo, is Misdale and Kudra just behind. These guys are closing up ever so slightly. Last lap, a full second quicker was Kudra over Misdale. I'll see if he can get onto the tail of Misdale in the next lap or two and move himself forward.
Cruiser is going to get a run on Misdale. Hammond is behind them. He might catch up to this. He might catch up and pass both of them.
Of course, Hammond started in the pits and he's already worked his way up into 8th, and he probably will get into 7th by the end of this lap because he looks a lot more racy than Misdale. Hammond, only 2 cars on track faster than Hammond at the moment are Trent Thomas and Paul Jones, our first and second place cars. Hammond around the outside gets the move done on Misdale. Actually, no, he doesn't. Misdale comes back through on the inside. Hearing ahead, a car in the fence. Not sure who that was. I definitely heard it's someone in the fence. Hammond now moves out. Not quite close enough, is he? Sends it up the inside of Kudrow, and he does get it done. So Hammond now moves up into 6th position. Good move. He's working his way forward very, very quickly. Kudrow tucked in behind, and Misdale there as well. So Kudrow probably will hang with Hammond here, you would expect. Misdale will be trying to hold on to these guys, using the draftee's advantage. Got 5 laps left in this one. 9 minutes to go on the clock. Briggs versus Morris still heated. Morris just doing enough to stick with Briggs. Last lap a full second quicker. And And he's well and truly in the draft range. Look at how much Morris closes up in the draft. Is he going to be close enough to get a move done into the carousel? He is. And Morris threw up into third. Just holds on through the carousel as well. I thought Briggs might have come back through. Just now Thomas, Jones, Morris, your top three, but Briggs is definitely not done. We saw in race one, he's very, very racy. Can he do it again?
No, he goes a little bit wide there.
Of course, every position counts for something because points at the end of the two races calculated, and that is the grid set for the main race. A 40-minute race to end the night with a pit stop for fuel. So these guys will be trying to work out how they play the strategy, what position they need to get to gain spots on the grid. Also want to make sure that they're in the right position in the pack when it comes to main race time. But at the moment, Hammond probably looking like he'll start this one from pole with a first, and at the moment a sixth.
Well, he is also the biggest mover so far from the race, starting from pits, and he could get a top 5 here if something does happen up front.
Well, that battle between Morris and Briggs sort of has the potential to see something happen in that pack, doesn't it? It just looks like something messy is going to happen there.
Oh, Morris taking a bit of the joker lap for Rallycross. Well, actually, sorry, it's not Hammond that's had the biggest move. It's Briggs. He's from 17th up to 4th so far.
Briggs might get another spot here because he's got a very, very good run out of the S's. We're saying in the shootout that the guys were lucky to hit 192 Ks down the straight. Briggs just under 200 in the draft. Gets the move done on Morris and moves back into third spot. They're going to do this 3 more times, and I wouldn't be surprised if there's a positional change 3 more times, with Briggs having a little bit of an internet glitch at the same time. That would have scared Morris a little bit.
Morris would be wanting that 3rd place after what happened in race 1, but... Oh, he doesn't have a look. Sort of going to try and keep the same line Briggs is, try and get the same run or even a better one out of this corner.
It's amazing that really short straight, which a little bit longer than the main straight, the front straight, but the draft advantage up that hill is extreme because the car just does not want to accelerate up the hill. So being tucked in the draft at that section is a lot more important than it is at other sections of the track. Draft not so important here. A little bit on the front straight, but coming out of turn 1, that is where you want to be, tucked in behind the rear of the car ahead. And Morris has got himself in a good spot here. Potentially get the move done again on this lap.
Trying to get a good run here. Got to get a very good run out this first corner to try and get him down the back.
Briggs actually took too much curve there. Had to check up, compromising a little bit of mid-corner speed. And Morris might have got too good a run because he may have to check up to avoid going too wide in the straight. Takes a little bit of a wider line to ensure, one, that he gets a better run, and he's had to get out of the throttle. Tried to make sure that he didn't actually get into the rear. Bump drafting down the straight this time.
Bump draft him, scare him a little bit.
And Hammond's not too far, Mazzoma's not too far of catching these guys as well. Morris gets out of it on the entry into the carousel. And Briggs maintains 3rd spot for the next part of this lap. Will it be the rest of this lap? The way this race is gone, any position could be shuffled here.
Anything can happen.
Briggs here from the onboard. How much the car struggles up the hill. Just does not want to accelerate up the hill at all. And Morris will be using that draft advantage to try and get some spots. Only going to be 2 more laps to go in this one. Podium is definitely not settled at the moment.
Oh, Morris into the grass at that corner, but he's trying to stay with Briggs or either get a run. Somewhere, somehow, Morris is going to try and get a move on him.
With 2.5 minutes left on the clock, there'll be 2 more laps to go. And last lap, Trent Thomas, Paul Jones doing identical lap times at the front, and Briggs and Morris also doing the same lap times. And notice that Morris got out of the throttle a little bit earlier into turn 1 to make sure that he wasn't too close at the exit of 1 to try and time this run down the straight. He wants to get to the tail of Briggs anywhere from now to about the bus stop. Any earlier than that, Briggs could get back in the draft and come back, and Morris is going to get the run now. We'll get the spot, but as I said, Briggs could tuck in behind here and still come back into the carousel. Not quite close enough.
But Morris, if he wants to, has to make that car the widest thing that is possible for the next lap and a half.
That was very smart from Morris, though, that checking up into turn 1 to get that run. That was some very, very intelligent driving, understanding how the draft works in these cars.
We defend going into this corner. Will Briggs have a dive? No, he'll brake early. Briggs trying to get the run out the corner to the inside of Morris. Morris gets a wide exit out that corner. But also something as well, that last lap that was pulled, Thomas and Briggs had the identical same lap time down to the thousandths of a second. So sadly, this is not a 4-car train for the lead, because if it was, it'd be a very, very close match battle.
It's going to be 1 to go this time as well. So same as the first race, 10-lap race. We're looking like we'll have a 19-lap main with a 40-minute race. So now the final lap of the race with 30 seconds left on the clock. Who will get this podium? Trent Thomas at the moment looks like he's done enough for the win. Paul Jones looks like he's done enough for second, but third and fourth, well and truly up for grabs as Morris takes a little bit too much curb, and Briggs may have the run and the closing speed a little bit too early here.
Up the hill, round the S's now, down to the back straight. Morris all the way to the inside. No, Wayne will stay on the racing line. Will he try and defend? No, Briggs is going to get a bit bumped. Ooh, very, very early check up there.
Great battle from these guys the whole way through this race. And just behind as well, Mazzomo's under attack from Hammond too. So we've got another battle going on inside the top 5. We'll stay with Morris and Briggs for now though. Who will hold on out of these two?
Briggs, I think, is too far back to have to just pack and send it into this corner.
Yeah, you feel like it's going to be the final corner. It's going to be the only spot he can do it. Needs to get a great run out of the third to last corner. This is the crucial corner. Almost needs to compromise a little bit of entry to get the exit speed. Don't know if he's going to be able to do it. Going to be pretty close, but at the front, Trent Thomas comes around the final corner. Redemption after race 1. He will hold on, pick up the win. Race 2 of the Aussie Mixed and Fixed Christmas Bash with Paul Jones coming home in second. Third and fourth, Who will get there? Morris is going to hold on. Fifth place, Hammond has got through on Mazomo, so Hammond all the way up to fifth. Mazomo will finish in sixth place.
Kudra will come across the line.
Just going to get a replay of the pass between Hammond and Mazomo. That's happened in the boot. Mazomo defending on the inside, and looks like Hammond's done it around the outside at the heel of the boot. Great move. Just held it wide, and it's one thing Hammond's been very, very good at in these races tonight is making moves off the racing line.
Yeah, he's done a lot of amazing moves, just finding very different spots from what everybody else would do and just pulling them off remarkably. So third race is going to be very, very good one to watch with the battling and also strategy where you want to do your pit stop.
Yeah, I've just heard some breaking news that there's an issue, a glitch with cars not being able to be released from the pit lane. So they've decided to ditch the fuel restriction in this one. So it'll be a 40-minute sprint race based off points from race 1 and 2. But Trent Thomas has won that one by 5 seconds in the end over Paul Jones, with Matt Morris just holding on 0.2 of a second over Adam Briggs in fourth. Hammond with the last lap pass gets into fifth. Mazomo finishes in sixth, with Kudra, Misdale, Fullerton and Bird rounding out the top 10.
And in 11th place would be Otto. 12th would be Swift. If I can get that name right, 12th would be Ryan. 13th would be Herman. 14th would be Worley, and your sort of disconnects. Mason did come across the line of finish in 15th, but Ross, both Dean and Sam Ross 16th and 17th, Laville 18th, and Anderson 19th, capping off the grid.
Yeah, so I'm guessing that the reason so many guys were in the pits for so long and didn't make it back out is due to that glitch. So we've seen quite a few guys in race 1 and race 2 that were unable to make it back out onto the circuit. So that's why we've ended up with so many guys extra laps down. So we now wait for the points to be tallied and the grid to be set for our main event, which is not too far away. But what we'll do, just go and grab the points and we'll confirm. I think you and I would both agree that Hammond will start this one from pole. He's been the quickest at the moment, so I'd be fairly sure he will start this one from pole. I'll just wait for the official second race results to get updated into the point standings. So what we do though, we might take a quick break here on V8's Online. This is the Aussie Mixed and Fixed Christmas Bash presented by Real Parity Motorsport and CM Security. We'll be back very soon for the main event, race 3 here on V8's Online. Welcome back to V8's Online's coverage of the Aussie Mixed Fixed Christmas Bash presented by Real Parity Motorsport. And CM Security is the final, is the last race of the night. 40-minute race. These drivers and making extra spicy. The first two cars will finish 5 on points. To the side, we will start this race from pole position. And Corey Ott
with what was going to be the earlier in the night was going to be a 40-minute one-stop race, and now turned into basically what is going to be the combination of race 1 and 2 systems combined. 40 minutes, full tank of fuel. It's going to be a very interesting race.
Tonight, and also to Real Parity Motorsport for their support of the broadcast as well. As we said, a big week of a big rest of the year coming up on V8's Online. Not many broadcasts left for the year, but Wednesday night we have the Australian Knoxville Nationals, the Race on Oz guys putting on another special event, dirt event, which will be awesome fun. Saturday night next week. Saturday night drinks on V8's Online with Reese and myself. We will have the Blancpain Endurance Series round number 4. Looking forward to that one next Saturday night. But Thursday night is the one we're really, really hyped for. Cut Price Racing Rallycross. Cannot wait to bring that one to everyone on Thursday night. Not sure exactly on how the format will work with the way that iRacing has released the heat functions and Rallycross. It's made it a little bit tough, but we'll work something out. We'll make sure we get some sort of racing, even if it's a couple of exhibition races, to everyone. But really looking forward to that. And Corey, hopefully you'll be able to get back out on track soon.
Oh yes, hopefully I do get a wheel next week and finally not try and drive myself crazy on a controller. So going to be a very fun, entertaining week next week for me.
So it's not long until the race session gets underway. We'll just quickly go through how the points have finished in setting the grid for tonight's racing. So we'll start with 10th place, which is Dean Ross. At the moment he is not in the session, so hopefully he'll get in the next little bit. 9th will be Daniel Misdale. So he'll start from 9th. A couple of pretty consistent finishes. 8th will be Ryan Schweister, who did a good job to come back after that unfortunate accident in lap 1 in the second race. Then we've got a 3-car tie for 5th position between Ollie Fullerton, Adam Kudra and Simon Mazzomo. I'm not sure how they're going to split the field up with that one. I'll leave that to race control to work that out. 4th, Trent Thomas. 3rd, Paul Jones. And then, as we said, tied for 1st, Adam Briggs on screen and Michael Hammond. Absolutely identical points at the end of the night.
It shows you that with these cars, it's consistency that counts, and they've both finished in the top 5 in both of the races. So it's going to be a very interesting start to see where everyone will start with the what is 5. I see 6 ties for positions in the points. Tie for 1st, 3-way tie for 5th, a 2-way tie for 11th, and then 2-way ties for 15th and 17th. So it's going to be a very interesting way this race will start. It won't really start by the way the points are set. So
it's going to be a real shuffled up field too. It's going to be really interesting to see how everyone goes once they get out there. See guys that'll just shuffle to the back of those packs and those trains that we've seen, and just sit there and watch and wait for the right time to get through. And you'll see other guys that will just blaze to the front and want to hold on from the front. So it'll be interesting to see who shuffles back, who stays at the front, who stays out of trouble, and the guy that keeps it the most clean out of the lead pack will be the one that wins the night, I'm feeling.
and also as well, you don't have to, you got to remember as well, it's a 20. Yeah, so top 5, if you go off the ties, so the 3-way tie for 5th, you would have a 27-point gap between what is essentially the top 5 with 8 drivers in it, and top 10 is separated by what is nearly 42 points actually. So going into this race, it's sort of a very tight points gap between top 10. So 40-minute race, anything can happen and will. So we'll see what will happen as we have about nearly a minute and a quarter left on the clock before our race gets underway.
I think the thing that surprised me with that reverse grid race was we saw 2 drivers really work their way through from the rear to come through, being Briggs and Hammond, but other than that, there wasn't anyone that really dominated. Everyone else that was sort of mid-pack in the first race finished at the top, and all the guys that were at the top of the first race finished in the mid-pack. So it was a little bit mixed in that aspect, and that's why we're seeing the points so close. We're hearing it's just going to go exactly as it's come out on the Dan Lee's point system. So Briggs will start from pole with Hammond in 2nd. So based on the better finish in the 2nd race, sees Briggs start from the front. I don't think it's really going to matter though, because they'll go side by side into turn 1 either way.
Yeah, it'll be 3 wide down the back straight for 5 laps, and then we might see after from what we saw in race 2, we might see a wreck. But you know, it not being a reverse grid, we could see a very clean 40 minutes. So, and also these cars have full tanks in them, so they're going to be a very heavy piece of machine for the first lap.
Yeah, I think guys that'll be tucked in the draft will want to sort of stay in the draft. You won't want to really pass too much. You won't want to lead the train. You want to be 3rd or 4th car back in a long train of cars. As the clock now hits 0, so we will get the starting grid up on screen for you in just a moment. And a big thanks to CM Security and also to Real Parity Motorsport. It's Adam Briggs, as we said. We'll start from pole with Hammond in 2nd, Paul Jones 3rd, Thomas in 4th, and Fullerton, Kudra, and also Mazzomo, as we said, all tied on points. Ryan Schweizer in 8th. Daniel Meisdale in 9th, and then Dean Ross will start this race in 10th position.
And then Anderson 11th, Morris is 12th, 13th is Otto, 14th Bird, 15th Levine, 16th Worthy, 17th Herman, 18th Mason, and 19th place Ross.
And Shannon Mason's probably the one that is really shuffled out of position in this field. So look to see him move forward. At the same time, want to try and keep it as clean as possible. We've seen a few glitches where guys with damage have come into the pits and it hasn't actually helped them get back out on track. As the revs rise, the final race is ready to go. Aussie Mixed and Fixed Christmas Bash 2017 is underway. And have a look at the jump from Jones and the terrible, terrible start from Briggs.
I think he might have stalled it there at the line. You go through turn 1, 2, maybe 3 wide near the mid pack.
I had a feeling Briggs started that in second gear by mistake, or shuffled it into second too early, and it's just bogged down. He's shuffled all the way back to 11th position at the front. Hammond has been passed by Jones, and Trent Thomas is going to get Hammond as well. The first time down the back straight.
There's a big pack, 6 or 7 cars just all together from 10th on back.
Hammond's gone back past Jones. They're 3
and
wide.
We're 4 wide. We're 4 wide. Or 2 wide cars are losing grip. Drivers are trying to get all the grip they can. The full tanks of fuel.
Nolly Fullerton's a big mover, I feel. He's now into 4th. Oh, contact between he and Jones. Jones has just held on almost into the fence. Fullerton's checked up. And
and behind them, they're 3 wide.
Oh,
back
this
to
won't
2.
work.
Oh, it's 40 minutes. They think it's only 10. They're going for it, all of them.
I think they've forgotten how long's on the clock, haven't they?
Yep. Now they're 3 wide down. Oh God, this is a very amazing first lap.
It's a scary sight if you're on the track. It's a beautiful sight if you're watching from the grandstand or with us here on Bats Online. Still 2 wide the whole way through the second half of the field. They're all going to shuffle into line. We're going to get our breath. Hammond and Thomas, they've checked out. Have a look at the gap that they've pulled. Nearly 2 seconds between Thomas and Adam Kudra into 3rd place, with Paul Jones being shuffled back to 4th. Oh, good.
And yeah, I think you'll call that one a race.
Yeah, that's going to be too much damage to continue on. Unfortunate end to Alex Bird's race. What might have been after race 1. Fighting for the lead for so much of that first race, and then ever since then it's just gone downhill. Well, that was a fair bit of contact between he and Schweitzer there, so and then as he's come back on, a bit of contact between he and Sam Ross. As you said, I think that'll be race done for Alex Bird. He's in the pits, but at the front, Don for the lead, side by side down the front straight, drag race between Thomas and Hammond. Who will take it? Hammond holds on.
Behind them as well, Kudra and Jones are having a drag race, and Jones has got by.
And while they've been shuffling too, these guys, Hammond and Thomas have pulled another second. So they've got to be careful to not fight too hard, because Hammond and Thomas will just check out as Thomas retakes the race lead. They've got 2.3 seconds on the rest of the field at the moment to the front two.
And for 3rd place, it's nearly becoming a 10-car battle for that 3rd place, last step on the podium.
Yeah, so Jones, Morris, Kudra, Schweitzer. Up the inside looks Dean Ross, has a bit of a dive, not quite able to do it. Briggs, Anderson, Mizomo, Fullerton, Worley and Misdale all in this battle pack. 12 cars in the battle pack, or 11 cars in the battle pack. What a pack of cars.
Nearly as crazy as what lap 1 was, and they're still going for it. 2 wide, here we go.
Oh, Ross does a great job to hold it around the outside of Briggs.
And has a go at Kudra and gets it done.
And Briggs will come through. He's going to follow Dean Ross. And we'll get past down the front straight.
And Anderson is there with them as well. They're nearly 3 wide.
4 wide.
Oh.
Tuck back into line. Very wide goes Ross. Gonna cut across the grass to get it back in the line. The 3 wide coming into the S's. This doesn't work.
Mizomo just backed out of it. Good thing, because now Anderson and Kudra are 2 wide. He's gonna get the double draft.
have a look at this on board with Mizomo. It is messy. You don't know which way to go. You're just holding on, strapping yourself in, getting runs. You don't know which way is the right way or the wrong way to go. It's scary being in the middle of these packs. Oh, contact between Ross and Briggs. And another little tap. Ahead of them, Jones and Morris. The Schweister, they've checked out on the rest of this pack. Behind Ross, Briggs, Anderson, Mizomo, Worley, Misdale, Kudra. What a battle pack. We're 5 minutes, 6 minutes in. We've still got about 16 laps of this to go.
And Laville is on the heels of Kudra.
Yes, so we're going to get 2 more cars involved in this battle, but Briggs now side by side with Ross. Will he get it up the inside? And will he be able to hold it? Ross has done a very, very good job of holding on the outside at the next part of the track, so may be able to do it again.
Well, they're too wide going into the... Again, twice in a row. Nope, he backs off a tiny bit.
Oh, Ross into the fence. Big heavy hit into the wall. That would have definitely hurt the car. The whole left-hand side of that car slammed into that tyre bundle quite heavily. See how much damage he's got from it.
Oh, Anderson
followed him in there.
Anderson and Misdale have a bit of a bumping doors. All that tap. Oh, how Anderson did not just turn Misdale around through the S's, I don't know.
I'm just going to bring your attention to the front, because while Thomas and Hammond have been fighting, Jones and Morris have been working together. We have a 4-car battle for the lead. Trent Thomas leads from Hammond. Jones and Morris are right in there.
Should someone tell these boys it's a 40-minute race, not a 10-minute race? They're going at it so hard.
I think these front 4 want to check out and make sure they're not able to let anyone else draft up and close up behind. They want to stay in the front. They want to lead this race, and they want it to be between these 4. At the moment, they're all separated by 0.7 of a second, the front 4 cars. Oh, a little bit of contact back in the field. Ross and Misdale and Anderson all getting in amongst it again. We'll stay with this lead pack though, because at the moment it's Thomas, Hammond, Morris and Jones. Give it another 3 or 4 kilometres of this track. Who knows which order it will be in.
And who knows who will be in that battle pack. They're racing so hard. All of these drivers are. But still, that 6-car pack, that 6-car battle for 6th place is still on.
It's settled a little bit, but this front pack is absolutely mesmerising. Morris looks like he wants to get the move done on Hammond, but Hammond's really trying to get past Trent Thomas. And again, Morris checking up a little bit on the entry to turn 1. It's meaning he's getting a much better run and timing the run out of the S's so that he's getting past on the straight. Behind Paul Jones, made a little bit of a mistake at turn 1.
And Morris gets a big run. And he's going to get both of them as well before the start of the straight. He will.
What a move. Bump drafting going on beside between Thomas and Hammond. Jones should catch up with some draft help in the background, but drag race, bump drafting. Hammond gets out of the throttle, but Morris still gets through. New race leader.
Morris had a massive run out the S's, and it was too big for the other 2 guys to work together and get him down the straight.
Now, I got a feeling Paul Jones is just thinking, I'm going to sit back and watch this. I'll get back a little bit. I'll make sure I'm still in the draft. Watch these guys fight and take advantage later on in this race. Still knows there's 30 minutes to go. They've still got 14 or 15 laps left in this one.
Oh, Hammond went deep, and Morris has got a wide run. Thomas is still behind him. And now Jones is right there with him.
And Jones has found himself back in the battle again, and I don't know if he was ready to be fighting for position. It's on for the lead, it's on for third and fourth. And again, Hammond around the outside, not quite able to do it this time. This has been a great jostling of positions. Thomas has gone from first to third. Morris has gone from third to first. Take two, let's go again.
Yeah, Thomas and Jones have pulled back a tiny bit. Still together though, so this could rage back to a 4-car battle for the lead. But at the moment,
Whoa, bump draft. Bump and run.
Oh, Norris very wide, keeps the position though. Thomas has got a massive run on Hammond.
Have a look at how much Trent Thomas is gaining on the back of Morris. Already past Hammond.
Look at that. Doing a Morris move there. Massive run.
I'm surprised Hammond hasn't come through as well. And Jones are going to go 3 wide into the carousel.
Hammond going to thread the needle. Yes. Can he get the move done to the carousel through it? Yes.
Oh, he has. So Hammond's gone from third to first in the space of the main straight, or the second half of the main straight. What a move that was from Hammond, back through on Trent Thomas, but Thomas still up the inside. Contact between Thomas and Morris. They slot themselves back into line behind Briggs. Has gone ahead of Ryan Schweizer, 5th and 6th. These guys are fighting hard, but they're working together at the same time to catch that pack ahead.
And this battle for 7th place is changed around a little bit. Mazzomo's back in that pack in 9th. Anderson's up there from 9th in the 7th now, but Laville is now behind them. It's going to be a 4-car pack again.
Oh, they're going to go 3 wide here.
Oh no, they won't.
Zomo right up on the inside. I thought about sending up the inside of Misdale, and Anderson was shuffled out wide, I should say. Zomo's going to get past here by Gareth Laville, so Laville's worked his way forward. Started back in 15th, he's now up into 9th, and he's still ready to pick off more drivers, but at the front, we reset. Our 3rd different leader at the end of the lap, in the last 3 laps. Thomas, Morris and Hammond have all led at some point in the last 5 laps of this race. We'll see who'll lead next time around. The way it's been going, it won't be Hammond.
Morris is going to have a look at Hammond now. Gets the run, gets the nose in.
The issue that Morris has got, by getting it done so early, it enables Hammond to tuck back into the draft. And Thomas is actually checking up. He's just tucking in behind. He's watching to see what happens between Hammond. And look, side by side already, and Hammond's back through. Oh, big hit! Oh, and around goes Hammond. Wowee, that was interesting. That was a very heavy hit.
Just a bit of door banging, but a bit too much through the carousel.
Yeah, that got a little bit messy. Probably went a little bit further than it needed to. Cup Price Racing replay on screen. Both guys were not wanting to give an inch, and at the end of the day, they both had to. It looks like Hammond may have ran a little bit wide into the entry to the carousel, and I'm sure Race Control will have a secondary look at that. But at the front, Trent Thomas is now leading the race. Paul Jones in second, and Matt Morris probably has a little bit of damage to the right-hand front of that car. He's going to struggle to hold on to the back of Thomas and Jones here.
Well, he's just got to try and manhandle that car and hopefully get very close to them down the straight to get the slipstream. But still, this 4-car battle for 7th still goes on.
No, it's now for 6 because Hammond obviously dropping back behind these guys. He's all the way back in 13th. Misdale about to be handed by Anderson. Mazomo also wanting to get moves done. Gareth Lavelle dropped back behind Mazomo and Adam Kutra in there too, so rounding out the top 10. This is 6th through to 10th position as Hammond in the pits to get damage repaired. I feel that Anderson and Mazomo will likely get moves done down the straight this time.
Don't forget you got Laville and Kudra behind them, so this is tighten up a bit down the back straight.
Have a look at Mazomo closing up the last second, almost gets contact in the rear, or just checks up enough, and Laville had to go wide to not make contact into the rear of Mazomo then. Anderson doesn't get by as we thought he would on Misdale, but they're still side by side into the boot. At the front though, new leader because Paul Jones has taken the lead from Trent Thomas, and Matt Morris. Damage obviously isn't as bad as we thought because he is well and truly in this one now.
Now he's going to have a look at Thomas into the heel of the boot. It looked like Thomas didn't let him have it there. And I think Jones is having a little bit of internet problems.
And Morris now into second. Thomas has dropped back into third. And Thomas, probably the most experienced out of these three in these sort of situations. He'll know sometimes it's better just to sit back and let the other two fight and be ready to take advantage, especially with these high draft circuits. Being the third or fourth car in the train is not necessarily the worst place to be. The lead car is often the worst place to be.
Well, the gap he's got over Morris and Thomas Jones has at the moment, it could be good for him for the next couple of laps as Hammond has now dropped out of the race, sadly.
Yeah, Hammond has DNF'd from this one. Mazomo up the inside of Misdale. A little bit of a lock-up, and they're going to stay side by side coming into the S's.
And Laville swipes up Mazomo. Now he's only going to get Misdale, and he could be in front of this pack finally.
And Anderson's checked out once he's gone past Misdale as well, so at the front though, change of position because Morris and Thomas bump drafting and have gone past, and Jones has come back at the last moment with a bit of side draft. Oh, this is on.
Morris has got the inside, has a look, gets the nose done. Oh, nearly hits Jones, but now Thomas is on the inside of Jones as Jones is going to go from first to third in the matter of 2 corners. No, he's going to have the inside. Oh, he's going to keep second though.
Have a look at the closing speed as well that Jones had on Morris into the corner. So Morris, with that damage, it probably is compromising a little bit of turn. And you saw Jones had massive, massive gains, and up the inside goes Jones. Thought about making a move, not quite able to do so. We're nearly at the halfway point of this race as they come up to finish the 9th lap. There will be 10 to go. This will be a 19-lap race. Pace that these guys have got in these cars at the moment will mean that they will only do 19 laps. So we're starting to think now about where they want to be with a couple of laps to go. And interesting, Briggs and Schweister, they're catching this lead pack now. Gap between Thomas and Briggs is under 3 seconds. The first time they've been under 3 seconds for around about 10 minutes of this race. On board with Trent Thomas. And running wide goes Jones. And a little internet glitch at the same time. Don't want to be shuffled out wide. Thomas gets out of the throttle to make sure there's no contact. It's actually a little bit scary here. Thomas will get a run, but probably going to stay in this order down the straight this lap.
He's gonna get a run, a big run. Jones is on Morris. Morris is gonna move over to defend. Jones gets it done, gets past him.
Jones retakes the race lead.
Now Morris is going to have a good look. Oh, it's going to be take 2 on the race 1 or race 2 incident, sorry, between Mason and Harmon, but no one's going to get hit.
And Jones holds it around the outside, and we've seen a few guys in this race actually have the ability to send it and hold it around the outside. There's been an incident between Mizomo and Misdale. We're going to get a Cut Price Racing replay. Something's happened at the carousel. See if we can pick up what's happened, but they're 3 wide coming into the carousel. Contact between the 25 and the 5. So Laval and Misdale made contact. Misdale crossed the track, made contact with the rear of Mizomo. Unfortunately, shuffled them back in the field.
And that incident has actually given Fullerton a massive gain. He's went from 11th, will now be 6th place.
Side by side still, Morris and Jones. Jones going to be tough to hold it around the outside here, but
ooh, nearly contact.
And will we see some side draft advantage as well? Bit of a run for Jones. Thomas just tucks in behind as well. Morris might think about sending it up the inside. No, doesn't. Very deep goes Jones.
Oh, really
way
deep.
Out of the dirt.
Take the grass.
And have a look at who's right on the tail now is Adam Briggs. We have a true 4-car battle for the lead.
And now Thomas has a look through the S's on Morris.
So Thomas now threw up into 2nd. Morris back to 3rd. And Briggs.
Thomas is going to have a look. Gets it to the 1st. Yes, he will.
Oh, and Morris thought at the last second too about sending it up the inside of Jones and thankfully decided to back out of it. Will Jones come back through? Almost contact. That was close.
I believe Adam Kudra's had a problem. Really slow.
We're seeing Ollie Fullerton as well and Shannon Mason both in the pits, so something has possibly happened for those guys as well. As here we go, Jones back up the inside, not quite close enough. Get a Cut Price Racing replay. The incident between Fullerton and also Kudra. And also the 55 of Mason. Oh, they've all come together down the straight. Big, huge hit. Massive, massive contact. Mason's ended up upside down. It's all started when they've tried to go 3 wide down the straight. And it just was never, ever going to work. One last look at it. Lavelle on board with him at the moment. You see contact between Mason and Kudra, both trying to get the same piece of track at the same time. Didn't work. So we come back live. Thomas, Jones, Morris, Briggs on for the lead for sure.
Oh, there's door tapping. Morris is in the grass. 3 wide down the back straight.
Briggs has got out of it. He doesn't want to get involved in this battle right now. But Jones still leads for the moment. Morris up the inside. Thomas might go around the outside and pick up Morris here. And Jones got a terrible, terrible run out of the carousel. Thomas might get 3 to 1. 3 wide still. Thomas has gone through, gone from 3rd to 1st within the entrance to the carousel. To the start of the boot. What a move.
And because Morris is all the way on the outside. Oh, that's not going to do well for Morris.
Yeah, Yeah, Morris is probably struggling with that damage from earlier. It shuffled out wide and a little bit of a slide from Briggs. Probably lost, or did lose a little bit of grip and wasn't able to keep it as straight as he would have liked. As we're back on board, Trent Thomas in second position because Jones has gone back through again.
And now it's sadly going to be an only 2-car battle for that lead. Thomas back through down the inside.
Thomas retakes the lead. I don't know how many times the lead has changed in this race, but I don't think there'd be enough ink in the pen to try and work it out. It's changed so many times in this race. We've still got 14 minutes to go.
And now Jones is going to have a look at Thomas down the back straight.
Oh. Jones has gone through, but side draft could mean Thomas will come back here. Besides not, and have a look at who's closed up very, very quickly. Briggs is right in this again.
Yeah, surprisingly, he's closed up really fast.
So Jones, Thomas, Briggs, and Morris isn't too far from catching back up again. And I'm going to guess at the end of the next lap, the way that the draft has been working, Morris will be back into this battle and we'll see 4 cars battle with 6 laps to go. Morris is well and truly in this fight now.
Now it's back to what is going to be a 4-car battle.
And somehow Morris is just doing enough to stay in it. Every time he drops off from the pack, he just does enough to stick in there and stay with them. Somehow finds some pace in that car that looks absolutely destroyed at the front. I don't know how he's got any speed in that car at all, but somehow he's finding enough to maintain pace with these guys, sticking in the draft. 6 laps to go, 12 minutes left on the clock. Who's going to lead the next one? Oh, Thomas has gone very wide. Jones is going to take the lead.
Thomas gone wide, 3 wide.
Oh, 4 wide! Oh, Briggs! Briggs and Jones, they've held on. Thomas still going.
No, to the wall! Oh.
How are they still all going straight? They've still got speed. They're all still into the power. Morris has got through on Briggs. Briggs is going to slow down a little bit because... Oh, get your breath. It is on. It's still on for the lead. Jones on the outside. Somehow still got a bit of a run on Trent Thomas. Will he get through? I don't know if he will. He has officially taken the lead. Drops back in behind. Oh, what a battle this has been.
Briggs went from getting a run to nearly shitting, well sorry, pooping his pants, and and how nobody was into that blue guardrail there into the S's, I don't know.
How they went 4 wide at one point there and still went straight, I don't know. Lucky there isn't a pit stop needed in this race because Briggs would need a change of underwear, as would pretty much all of this pack. They all get their breath back. They're all back in line for a little moment. 10 minutes to go on the clock. There'll be 5 more laps in this one. Thomas, Jones, Morris, Briggs, your battle pack for the lead. Apologies to everyone else in the race, but we cannot take our eyes off this for now. Oh, Morris, another big moment. Jones still having those little bit of internet issues at the same time. And Morris's car looks like every single corner, it just wants to snap out of him, and somehow he maintains control with it. Oh, have a look at this to make it spicy. Lapped traffic, just to make it even more interesting. They're coming up to Adam Coutret. They may catch him on the straight, not this lap, but the next one. If they do catch him on the main straight, that will make it very, very exciting. Briggs has got to run this time. Jones has got to run. They're now 2 by 2. Jones retakes the race lead.
They all have a run, basically.
Morris squeezes Briggs a little bit off into the dirt, unintentionally. Almost made contact with Thomas. They've all got through. Jones now leads. Thomas has got to run back through. Thomas will probably get back through. And does. Or does he? Jones still holding on around the outside.
Jones on the inside of Thomas with Morris trying to have a look.
They're going to go 3 wide into the next corner here because Morris has got to run from that alternate line. And Jones, with those internet issues, starting to cause a little bit more havoc in this race. Morris through. Thomas now back to 3rd. Briggs still in 4th. And Jones way off the track. Don't hit the fence.
He's in the wall.
Oh, no. Unfortunate for Paul Jones. Doing such a great job. Thomas is shuffled through on Morris as well. It looks like Jones's car is a little bit too damaged from that fairly heavy hit wall into wheel. Usually does not work. We stay with the race lead pack though. Jones into the pits, unfortunately. That'll be his race done. Disappointing end for Paul Jones, who was doing a fantastic job working away with this pack of cars. Now at the front, 3 cars fighting for the win. We've got 12 seconds to Nathan Anderson behind, so no threat from behind. It is just down to these 3. 4 laps to go. Thomas moves over. Morris moves over. Briggs moves over even further. They are
and we're now 3 wide.
Side by side. From 3rd to 1st, Briggs goes through, takes the race lead for a little moment. And
Jones,
Morris.
Sorry, not Jones, but Morris around the outside. Wide out the carousel.
That's a bit hairy, that's a bit scary, but he's made it through. Morris leads, Briggs 2nd, Thomas in 3rd. Still 3.5 laps in this race. What a fight this has been so far. What a fight it will end as. This is going to be one of the most action-packed 3 laps we will see this year on V8's Online.
It's all basically, they're all going for sheep stations.
Morris
got turned.
Oh, that was a fairly heavy hit too between Briggs and Morris. That changes the race lead. And Morris possibly won't be able to come back from that because he had that fairly heavy damage from the start. Cut Price Racing replay on screen. Saw it from the onboard from Trent Thomas, but we'll see it from a slightly different angle. And probably a little bit too ambitious from Briggs. But back out on track. Briggs has redressed the position to Morris. They will continue to fight. Now Trent Thomas has 5.5 minutes left in the race. 3 laps to hold on from Matt Morris and Adam Briggs as they try now to work together rather than fight to catch up to Trent Thomas. Oh, big moment for Matt Morris. Will we see Briggs get a move done here? Will he just bump draft and push Morris along to catch up to the rear of Trent Thomas? Still plenty of time left in this race. Interesting thing with that little shuffling, that Nathan Anderson is now in the same shot. Garth Lavelle also not too far away from the rear of Anderson. So we're going to have a few battles going on with only 2.5 laps to go. This is going to be on.
Morris is now he's going to start using that whole engine. He's just bouncing it off the rev limiter into the toe of the boot.
He's got to be careful though. He doesn't want to lose too much time because Thomas is just lapping nice and consistent now. These guys really have to work together, or else it will be race done. Thomas will win. So Morris and Briggs, after fighting for 35 minutes, now have to work together for the next 4 to leave them with one shot of potentially stealing a race win.
And that gap is looking by the look is going to start diminishing here in a second.
That's 3.2 seconds. Thomas back to Morris. 2 more laps to go. Briggs now having a look. Gonna go up the inside. Move done. Morris needs to play it smart here. He's going to try and get the move done coming up into the S's. This will not help their fight to potentially take the race win. Briggs will tuck back in behind. Or not, because he's still got to run. Have a look at the drag race side by side down the straight. They need to get together closer to get some bump drafting. And Thomas has got the advantage of that lap car getting some draft. But Thomas is going to pull away. He's already out to 4.5 seconds. And Morris stays on the inside. Move done. But we see an over and under. Oh, switchback. Almost contact back between Morris and Briggs as he come back across.
And now Thomas is caught up to Kudra as lap traffic. Will Kudra let him go or just let Thomas find a way around him?
Make it interesting for us. Kudra will not make it easy, but you'd be fairly sure that he will just move out of the way, and he does. But Briggs looks like he's got a bit more pace than Morris, but he's just not able to find a spot to get a move done. I've already seen one big hit between these guys. Oh, almost contact again. That would have been the 3rd time they've almost made contact. These guys are fighting hard with only 1 and a bit to go. It is on for the minor spots on the podium. And Nathan Anderson isn't too far off getting involved in this fight as well. Anderson could find himself into a podium position if these guys fight as hard as they are on this last lap. 1 to go, 1.5 minutes left on the clock. White flag is out. This will be the final lap of the race. Trent Thomas leads by nearly 5 seconds, but Morris and Briggs for 2nd and 3rd is well and truly not over.
Yep, they both know they can't snatch the win off Thomas, but all they can do now is fight for 2nd place.
Briggs with the run. Morris will defend very aggressively down the straight. Briggs is going to have to go to the outside. A little bit of a bump. Briggs had to get out of the throttle as well. What a fight this is.
Will Morris pack it and send it?
You think he will? You think he'll try and hold that inside line? Almost contact.
He's a bit skirmish.
Briggs should hold it around the outside, but at the next corner we've seen that outside line work. Morris comes over to cover. Briggs can try and hold it around the outside. We'll have the inside for the next corner. Won't be able to do so. 5 corners to go. Not long left now. Will Morris be able to hold on with massive damage as well? Battle for 4th and 5th in the background is starting to get heated as well between Anderson and Lavelle. But Briggs as we said, looks pacier, but not quite able to get the move done. Not quite close enough this corner. The clock is officially now at 0.
Now all Briggs has got to do is find a good opportunity. Morris defending that inside. Briggs trying to do it around the outside, like what Hammond has done before in the first 2 races. Can't get it done. He's got 2 corners to go. But up front, through the final corner he'll come. Thomas will take the win in the final race of the Aussie Mixed Fixed Christmas Bash, with Morris going to come home in 2nd place, Briggs coming home in 3rd, and behind those 2 it's going to be Nathan Anderson and Gareth Laville coming from 15th place all the way up to 5th.
Battle, it's just heated up too in the last lap. 7th and 8th is not over. Colin Herman holding on Phil Otto. Otto hasn't had the best first 2 races, but this race he's worked his way forward. And will he have enough to get Herman on the last lap, the last corner? Not quite going to be close enough, so Herman will hold on for 7th position over Phil Otto. Great battle right to the end though. We're just waiting 3 more cars to come across the line, but what an awesome night of racing we've had. We've seen bumps, drafts, battle packs, mega crashes, but some of the best racing we've seen at Watkins Glen, which always turns on a good show, in a long, long time.
It's always the Mazdas and Watkins Glen that make an amazing show.
Big congratulations once again to Trent Thomas. Unlucky in the first race tonight. Did a great job in the second race, and then it's just shown why he's a very, very accomplished driver in the AusNZ community, Trent Thomas. So well done to you on a fantastic drive to pick up the win in the Aussie Mixed and Fixed Christmas Bash. Race results are on screen with, as we said, Thomas winning, only 0.3 of a second separating Morris and Briggs in the end. That was one of the most awesome battles to watch at the end of the race, so well done to you guys. Probably didn't finish the way they wanted, but a great battle nonetheless. Anderson held off Laville, charging through at the end of the race. Mazzomo does a great job finishing in 6th. Well done, Simon. With Herman, Otto, Nisdale and Worley rounding out the top 10.
And our final car finishing on the lead lap with Dean Ross with 11th place, Kruger 12th, Paul Jones sadly binning it the second half of that race. And then we have what would be our DNF, Swessica, Fullerton, Mason, Hammond, Sam Ross and Bird.
There's some unfortunate DNFs in this one tonight, but an absolutely awesome night of racing. It's been thoroughly enjoyable. We've absolutely loved bringing it to you. Big thank you to the guys from CEM Security and Real Parity Motorsport for their support of the Aussie Mixed and Fixed League. If you are wanting to get involved in the Aussie Mixed and Fixed League, they do race Sundays and Mondays. Sundays GT3 Development Series, and Monday nights a bit of random racing, all different sorts of racing at all different sorts of circuits. Thomas does a decent burnout, decent donut in those cars. They're not easy to do. Donut in the MX-5s. Well done, Trent, on a decent burnout. But again, thanks to CM Security and Real Parity Motorsport for their support of the Aussie Mix and Fix. Corey, big thank you to you for your help out in the comments box tonight. It was an awesome night of racing.
Yeah, very, very interesting to watch coming into tonight. It's certainly delivered as well.
Yep, it's definitely been an awesome show. So big thank you to you. Big thanks to everyone for watching. Our next broadcast will be Wednesday night, the Knoxville Nationals, as we head to the newest circuit on iRacing, Knoxville Speedway, with some awesome speedway action on Wednesday night. Thursday night, Cut Price Racing, Rallycross. Cannot wait to bring that to you. We will have some action from the OSR V8s Online Cut Price Racing Rallycross Series. Saturday night, we will be back again for Saturday Night Drinks, as we've now dubbed it. The Blancpain Endurance Series, as the best teams in the world fight for the top 26 positions, the last 26 positions in the Pro Series for 2018. But we might wrap it up. Thanks again, Corey, for your help tonight. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Been watching Vouts and Lines coverage of the Aussie Mix and Fix Christmas Bash. Thank you for watching. Your winner has been Trent Thomas.